Morning, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order for the Corporation of the Township of Wilson, August 27th, 2025. I will start with roll call. Councilor Goya.
Present.
Councilor Spillis.
Present.
Councilor Bailey. Councilor Hurst.
Present.
This will begin our moment of reflection. This is our moment of reflection. By proxy of confirmation of the agenda, please.
Council approves the August 27th, 2025 agenda is circulated, and that council approves the addition to the agenda as follows. Consent item 6.1.8, questions received from council and corresponding responses from staff.
Hand over for that, please. Councilor Hurst, Councilor Spillis, any questions or comments? All in favor? That's carried. All right, we'll move right into our delegations. I believe we have Christine here. Welcome. Nice to see you again.
Nice seeing you.
Evan, are we sharing that?
Sorry. Steve, disclosure.
Oh, sorry. Yes, any disclosure of any interest today. Oh, thanks, sir.
Yep, item 6.20, Council Lincoln notice of complete application, P 2025-01. Notice of completion is in regard to Esco development proposal at Sidewalk 20 North. I reside in Sidewalk 20 North, which may be impacted by this development should it proceed. As such, my property value may be affected, which requires a declare pecuniary interest as defined municipal conflict of interest.
Thank you, Councilor Spillis. We'll just pull that one out. Same day with separately. Okay, thank you. Sorry about that.
No worries. Awesome. So yay, we have finished the review of the community safety and well-being plan. Hooray. Because it's the second rendition, I guess. And so every 5 years we'll be redoing it. So good morning, everyone. I'm pleased to share that Wellington County has completed its 2025 review of the community safety and well-being plan. This updated plan reflects our ongoing commitment to meeting the evolving needs of our community. With a strong focus on key issues such as mental health and addictions, building safe and connected communities, and fostering a sense of belonging for all residents, we continue to work together to make Wellington County a safer and healthier place to live. As required by the Community Safety and Policing Act, this review is conducted every 5 years to ensure that the service and programs in place are effective, responsive, and aligned with local needs. The Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan must include 3 key components. First, the identification of local priority risk factors based on community consultations and reliable data, including input from the OVP and public health. Second, the use of evidence-based programs and strategies that directly address those risk factors. And third, measurable outcomes with clear performance indicators to track our progress and impact. I'm proud to say that through collaboration and commitment, we have not only met, but exceeded the provincial requirements for this plan. Thank you to all of the organizations, individuals, and Wellington County departments, as well as municipal departments who have contributed both to this most recent update and to the ongoing success of the plan over the past 5 years and future 5 years. Your dedication is what makes this work meaningful and impactful. Thank you. It has been a very busy and exciting year for Safe Communities Wellington County. Not only did we revise the Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan, but we also made great strides in increasing its visibility and impact through 2025. We've continued to expand our exposure across Wellington County through a variety of social media and media campaigns, focusing on issues that affect us all: falls, motor vehicle collisions, mental health initiatives, accidental poisonings, and farm and home safety. Our presence in the community has been strong. This year, we attended the Drayton Farm Show, the Wellington County Farm and Home Safety Association Pancake Breakfast, the Lights and Sirens event in partnership with Fire and OPP, as well as the Fergus Lions Home Show and the Active Living Show at the Fergus Sportsplex. We also participated in the Spring Fling through Community Resource Center and recently participated in the Center Wellington Fire Open House. These events have allowed us to engage with residents directly and keep community safety front and center. So if there are any events in Puss Lynch, like Sarah seems to keep me up to date on things, but like if there's anything that you can think of that you would want the Safe Communities Wellington County or for me to attend, I'm like, by all means, let me know. Sarah usually does that, so it's fine. One of the highlights of the year was our Safe Communities Day, which we expanded from a 1-day event into a 2-day program held on October 1st and 2nd. This format worked extremely well, and we'll be continuing that format in 2025. We connected with students virtually in between the 2 nutrition breaks, dedicating one day to 911 education and another day to highlighting the role of our safety partners beyond emergency response. The results were incredible. We reached over 750 students. We also provided each school with safety-related materials, and we are continuing to build on this success. Looking ahead, we are making it a priority to attend more events and importantly, to engage more youth in our work. I think it's fantastic that you guys actually have a youth advisory committee, which is amazing. And I truly hope it continues. Youth engagement is not only a focus of our community safety and well-being plan, but also a necessity for building safer communities over the next 5 years and beyond. I'm also excited to share that through Canadian Youth Road Safety Week, formerly National Teen Driver Safety Week, has allowed me to visit high schools across Wellington County and some Guelph schools. We try to actually get into like Bishop Mac as well as Ross, like so that we can, because I know your kids from Puss Lynch go into, so we do try. We don't always succeed in getting in, unfortunately, but we keep on trying. Okay, so for actually Canada Youth Road Safety Week this year, they're focusing on a thing called Snap for Change. So I will be providing the schools as well as like I'll give to Sarah as well about empowering youth, and basically they're asking youth to identify different areas like on the roads that they've noticed that are not safe, right? Like could be major potholes, it could be speeding, but it's actually empowering them to actually do something about their community, which is great. In closing, I want to thank you for listening and for your ongoing support of Safe Communities Wellington County. Together, we are making a real difference. I look forward to continuing this important work with all of you in the months and years ahead. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you very much. Councilor Goode.
Yeah, thanks. That's a great presentation. It's a really good report. It's really all encompassing for sure. And just, I like that you are putting a lot of focus on youth. I think that really that's a really large impact. And you mentioned our youth committee, so I'm not sure if it would make sense, but maybe it would be great to do a small presentation for that committee as well when they meet.
Oh, sure. Yeah, definitely. We'd definitely be interested to.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
And then you just mentioned if there's some events, we have our fall fair, which is a really well-attended event.
Okay.
But another one is on Family Day. We always have an event at the community center, and that is really well attended by specifically families. So that might be.
Oh, yeah, that's great. Exactly.
I'm sure Sarah will connect you with them.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'll talk to her in September when she's at the meeting and then just get those, because we really want to make sure, I find that just getting out there and talking to people instead of just doing the meetings, and it's really great. Like even now, like with the e-scooter legislation, right? It's not as big of a deal here so much. It's more center Wellington that there's tons of e-scooters, but everybody needs to, like, if you want e-scooters in your area, you have to actually pass a bylaw, right? So talking to parents and saying like, but the province, like it's over 16. Kids should not be on e-scooters or e-bikes for that matter, under the age of 16. And as we know, we do see a lot more kids that are under the age of 16. And so just talking and getting that information out there,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
So which is good. So,
Councilor Spose.
Yes, the vulnerable road users, we have some issues in Aberfoyle that we are trying to get the county to listen to us too. I was wondering if your group would advocate on our behalf, if we bring it up for you.
I can try, like, so there's different things that I've actually done, and I've actually I've gone to the committee, like the roads committee, to discuss different strategies. And is it something to do with like the road and speeding and stuff like that?
There's a couple of things. There's one, we were looking at using the funding that we get from what the county gets from the ticketing
Mhm.
to put a crosswalk in.
Mhm.
Make it more a livable little hamlet type of thing. And the other thing is we're trying to reduce the number of lanes through Aberfoyle. really slowed down the traffic.
Yeah.
Eventually, I can see that, these cameras will come down and we'll be back to where we are, or where I should say. And, we think that the best way to do it is, reduce lanes to one lane in each traffic, plus a middle lane, plus, parking. We have a lot of, facilities there. We have the, park, we have the community center, we've got the school type of thing.
Mhm.
So it's not as if it's, in the middle of nowhere and we're for something that's unreasonable. And, we seem to be banging our head every council, term of council, we bring it up, it keeps going forward, it gets stuck.
Yeah, I have definitely talked to the roads committee about those things as well, but I do know that. Infrastructure changes, they are making them, obviously with the roundabouts and like all these different things that they're doing to calm, roads. But I've actually put in like, so especially in your area, unfortunately. I actually discussed, putting in, pavement markings to increase the safety. Like, so there's been proven, strategies across all, like a variety of different municipalities. And adding that piece of gateway markings it should, according to the data, decrease the, speed by at least five kilometers an hour once it's actually implemented. It's just and it's a lot cheaper than obviously major infrastructure changes. And, they are actually they're gonna be doing a pilot, actually starting in September. Chances are it's gonna be in that's my guess. But the two major areas would be you and, up in, I think it was Minto that had the largest like amount of, speeding. From a 80 to a 50 kind of thing. So chances are you will be the pilot. That's my guess. They said that they would be coming back to me in September, so I will find out shortly. And I'll let Sarah know, because it'll directly affect you guys, so.
Okay, great, thank you. It's a great presentation, and I look forward to working with you, trying to get some of these issues resolved.
Yeah,
Councilor Harrison.
Yeah, thank you. Maybe just a couple quick comments. I mean, one question, but, yeah, I'd echo my colleagues' comments, when I was reading through the report, like really comprehensive, very informative. Yeah, what I would very much encourage is, and maybe this happens, I just maybe wasn't aware of it, but I'd love to see annual progress reports on those key priorities that have been identified and some metrics in there, because I think. Like I agree with everything here. I always struggle with 5-year plans that you snapshot in 5 years, but I'd love to see something incremental. Certainly encourage a future delegation. I quite like the priority areas specifically, and I'll maybe add to Councillor Goyda's comment around youth and elderly. I think those are two of the areas within the larger society that this type of programming has great opportunity and potential. And just the fact to call it a mental health, and I'll call it cyber, whatever you want to coin that, I think it's important that it's timed, right? So those are emerging issues in society, and I'm glad that those are incorporated in here. I think it may be quite tone deaf if it wasn't, would have been one of my comments. My last question is, can you just tell me how, as best you can at a high level, like how the Safe Communities is actually funded, and what your annual budgets are, and how that kind of gets delivered?
basically, we're funded through the county, so I report to the, Wellington County, Police Services Board. Well, it's actually, no, sorry, Wellington County, Ontario Provincial Police Board. I think that's what they changed it. So I do my annual review with them, and then the county actually provides me with funding, for my position. I am the only paid person. Everybody else is volunteer or like appointed by different municipalities. I did request additional funding last year to increase my I pay, but yeah, it's just, basically, it's all from the county. To run all the events that we do to pay me to, like just,
Ballpark your.
oh, sorry, my brain, what was it? It went up to 30,000 this year, so it's not a lot. Yeah, and that includes not just my pay, but includes all the events that we do and everything. So we were fortunate to have a little bit of money, like, because over COVID, we didn't end up using a lot of it. So we did have a reserve so that I was able to pull from. So the last couple of years, we've actually pulled a little bit more from the reserve just because we can. And yeah, so.
That's helpful. I didn't have a point of
Yeah.
reference because I didn't see it in here, and that's helpful. And
Yeah.
certainly if it's 30K, I think you're certainly punching above your weight in terms of impact. So that's it.
Yeah, I would echo Councillor Gordon and Council's support of attending the Family Day event. That's very well attended. It's a great little event for the community. It's already passed, but we also have the Pilsner Community Showcase coming up. It's a little more focused on businesses in the community, but very well attended as well. So maybe have some consideration for that. That's really soon.
Through your chair, I think it's October, our quick
Oh.
retailer. Yeah, through your chair, it's October 4th.
Okay.
October 4th. I'm going to a concert in the evening, but. But is it in the evening or is it in the afternoon or?
It's from 10 to 3.
That's good. So I was like, I'm like going to a concert, but aside from that. Okay, so that works. I'm gonna put it in my calendar just because. So like, I will attend it. Yeah. This lunch showcase. So I have it. Thank you. That's great.
I have more comments. I'm just not wanting to distract you while you're.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay. Sorry about that.
So I like the report, obviously. I don't see anybody that wouldn't. But what wasn't clear to me was what's the path for identifying improvements? So it speaks to community led. Is it council driven? I'll just stop there for now. How do you
So the priorities, are you talking about like, so?
a specific project? So I'll go on.
Okay.
So if we have collisions occurring at 35 in concession 1, 35 in concession 2. You come from Waterloo area and you come eastbound. Waze and Google Maps is now directing traffic off of the 401 and down our roads to skip the backlog on the 401. So this is, in my opinion, leading to more collisions at these intersections because they're just traditional two-way stop.
Mhm.
And so I would like to see, I think council should request the collision data for concession 1 and concession 2.
Okay.
I think that we should request, once we get that data, if it supports, improvements, then we should then request the county to use the ASE money to do the infrastructure improvements. So then back to my original question is, what's the process? Like, it's great to have the plan,
Yeah, exactly.
but how does something get done?
Well, again, like, so I do know that right off what I've been told is that, the Black Cat data has to actually be, like, the Black Cat has to be put down there just to see what it's like. And then we take the data from the collision data from the OPP. And then they'll look at that. Like, so the roads committee, it's hard because there's so many different, they've got these guidelines, right? And so depending on the guidelines that the roads department kind of goes by, it depends on what they will decide to do on that. And depending on, like, so it's so the side roads are Puss Lynch and they're not a provincial highway or anything like that, just like. So it seems to be a slow moving, like, I find that a lot of municipalities have the same kind of comments on different things, different roads. And so what I always try and do is I'll send a letter myself, because I'm not the power, I don't have the power basically, right? And so, yeah, it seems like they are always asking, okay, let's put the black cat there to get the amount of cars that are like, so. I would imagine that they would want to look at past, because I'm sure these specific concessions have had black cat data before and compare to now, like, you know what I mean? Or they may want to, if they haven't done it, then they would put it in right now, and then they revisit it 6 months later, just to see the impact that it's having on your roads. And then they figure out, based on the amount of cars that are on there, what the action would be, because this book I forget the name of the book, turf or something like that, that the roads committee, or not the roads committee, but the roads department actually has to abide by. They will, it's one that basically tells them whether a roundabout is allowed, or if a set of lights is allowed, or a stop sign, and a variety of different things. So I don't know, like, it seems to be a very long process. Like, even when I feel, and you know it, right? So it seems to be a very long process. And I do try, like, for me, because people tend to come to me, and I do end up talking and like doing delegations, as I mentioned. But it seems to be the same process all the time, regardless of my intervention.
Well, and what it sounds like is we have competing policies, and this is what we have in Aberdeen. So my notice of motion is going to be discussed in September, and that's to get costing to reduce the lanes by paint
Mhm.
to 1 lane.
Yeah, which is great, exactly, yeah.
Right, but the other priority of the county is to move traffic, so you have this hamlet walkability, safety, speed concern, but then you have this competing initiative, policy, whatever you wanna call it, that, hey, we need to move traffic. Similar to what we're discussing down, say, that intersection I'm talking about, is that now you have, well, there's criteria that we've adopted that say that, you know, you need this much traffic to warrant signalization, roundabout, whatever it may be, but in this plan, it speaks to collisions. It doesn't speak to meeting a benchmark for traffic counts. So my suggestion to council would be, first is we request the collision data on concession 1 and 35, concession 2 and 35. Also request Wellington County has access to their own black cats. DOPP, we can request them to get down there. I don't know which one would have availability at an earlier time. So it could be either, but request that the black hats be placed on concession 1 and see now we're running policy. Concession 1 is a township road, but the county put it on township road, the ODP would. But for me, it's not the traffic count, it's the collision data, so that's high priority. You brought up an interesting point, and I've been thinking about it myself, is pavement markings. You mentioned gateway marking.
Yeah.
And sounds like we're gonna have a couple trials, but what I would also like to see is the repainting of the lines more than just once a year. If you notice in the roundabouts, because the heavy trucks going through them, the trucks turn, the tires twist.
Totally.
And they wear the lines out. And I spoke to county staff, and they paint them once a year.
I know.
And we have that ticket money, ASC money.
Yep.
So I would appreciate recommendations from I would appreciate consideration of, you know, implementing, especially in the school zones or, you know, these high risk areas of increased frequency of the painting of the lines. And there's that money sitting there that wouldn't have an impact on the taxpayer.
Exactly.
I think Coastal Council should also have consideration of that.
And I actually did request that as well in my delegation. When I was talking to the roads department, because once a year is not enough.
I agree.
Yeah, so I've already cut, so
Yeah.
hopefully,
Once a year, the double yellow line down the middle might be sufficient, but you see the crosswalk at Plain is worn out, the roundabout crosswalks are worn out just from sheer volume of traffic. So I think that's something that I'll help push it too, but it's nice to have another voice.
yeah.
Another thing I've noticed a little bit inconsistency on is the 50 km/h boulevard signs, those ones in the middle of the road.
Mm,
They're on Lake Road and they're up in some other municipalities, they're 50 zones, but then we have 50 zones down here that don't have them. So I think there should be some consistency. I may be barking up the wrong tree here, but again,
yeah, I like my guess is, because whenever I approach things like that, it seems like they always, the engineers will always refer back to their book and say, it's like this because of the book. And and I'm sure you're dealing with that as well. So I'm like, but yeah, we're very like-minded in this. And so I do like, so whenever I do speak with roads or any county staff, I'm like, that's basically what I'm talking, just like I'm actually asking them like, so what's up with this? And
so I would ask the Coastal Council consider requesting the county to clarify how the 50 km boulevard signs are deployed, because I've noticed them in some 50 zones and not in others.
yeah, exactly.
Uh,
But on the flip side, I have noticed that depending on like, so for example, like on Geddes Street and St. David Street. In Elora, which didn't warrant stop signs, like a four-way stop. During the big construction with the bridge, there was enough residents that said we need this four-way stop to stay. Because they were gonna remove it after the construction. It is now there permanently. So even though they're very diligent when it comes to this book, this book, I'm like, there have been times where they have gone off book, which
well,
is interesting. So,
County council can direct staff to do things,
exactly.
right? Just council here can say, if you want it, now there's risks associated with all that stuff, but yeah, we can deviate from things.
So I think that's,
So, so what did you capture on my little battle there?
So, Mr. Chair, where council had safety concerns at the intersections of concession 1 and Wellington Road 35 and concession 2 and Wellington Road 35. As there has been a rise in recent collisions at these intersections, the council requests staff to collect the collision data from the county at these intersections for review, and that the county be requested to place black cats in these areas. And the council directs staff to request the county to consider line painting on roads more than once per year where there are high traffic volumes. We might want to revise that a little bit. And then the last one, which I didn't catch all the way, was that council directs staff to request the county clarify the policy framework for placing 50 km signs. And I didn't catch the end of that.
You gonna ask Mike on the spot, Mr. Fowler, those 50 km/h signs in the middle of the road, are they called boulevard signs, or do you know the terminology for them? They're on Lake Road.
Through you, the chair, they are referred to as speed limit delineators.
Speed limit, yeah, speed limit delineators in the center.
Should I just put in brackets the center line?
Thanks, Mr. Fowler. Sorry, so, the black cats, sorry, can you reread that one to me, please?
Yes. That council requests staff to request the collision data from the
Oh,
county.
sorry, hold on there.
Sure.
The county won't have the collision data.
At these intersections for review, and that the county be requested to place black cuts in these areas.
You just put a /county/OPP, ask them both and see which one will have availability.
they may actually, like, so the police services board, the last, I wonder, because on the agenda, the commander's report always has collision data. That it might have actually already been captured with the collisions,
It's,
like,
yeah, it's,
implicit.
it's all of them. I don't know if it's in a specific intersection.
Oh, so it's not, okay.
They'll have it for sure. They'll
Yeah.
have it, and this stuff is happening relatively recently, the last year,
Okay,
year and a half, of the traffic pattern changing and backlog on the road, so. I think that's it, so, that's good.
Yeah. It's good.
Yeah, I'll move it.
Second by Councilor Hurst.
Through you, Mr. Chair, and the only other part was, if we want to sort of qualify the high traffic volumes for the road paint, is there
Oh,
better way?
It says traffic sensitive areas such as roundabouts, public space areas,
so,
community safety.
It's recommended 2 to 3 times a year to actually repaint on high traffic areas. Through like a lot of the different things that I've actually read, through Parachute, but yeah, 2 to 3 times.
and I would even put in there, we need to mention that the ASC money be considered for. Sinking. So that makes it.
Captured that, such as high traffic and sensitive areas, such as roundabouts and community safety.
Crosswalks, is that count through?
So,
Cheers. You want to reread it, or are we good? Do we need, would it be advantageous to have a letter from your group on your opinion on the traffic configuration?
I don't think it will be necessarily, like, I can write one for you. But I can do it, but I don't think it'll
Okay,
change the
we'll-
tide, I guess.
We'll leave it.
Yeah, but if you require it, I totally will.
We added a resolution that you would endorse what we're saying.
Oh, yes, definitely. I would definitely endorse what you're saying. Because anything that's added to calm traffic is going to prevent injuries from happening on our roads and across Wellington County, basically, right? So,
So more specifically, the notice of motion, the 2-lane configuration, I'd like you, if you could, how would we do that? I'd like you to review it, or at least if you delegated on, changes like similar to that for the area, then I'd like to have that in writing if you're willing to do that. So if you'd follow up with myself, or, we work with staff, I don't know, is there a method here that we could do this? I just don't want to make you do an endorsement of what we're doing without giving you the opportunity to review it as well.
so to you, Mr. Chair, we can have this sort of be the resolution that's accepting the delegation and the delegation materials, and so we can append that to this, and we can add to this, whereas Christine endorses council's resolution through the discussion from the delegation, and then we can have it flow into what you've asked for. I can make sure to send that to you beforehand, so you can take a look at it and make sure that you're comfortable.
sure, that'd be fine. That's great.
This doesn't speak specifically to the changing the layout of Niagara.
So I think that could be something we could work on separately,
Sure.
if that's all right with you.
Yes,
I can totally do that, yeah.
Yeah.
And with the amount of money that your camera is
generating.
generating, you would think that that would be, because like infrastructure changes and changing to the roads and like doing that, it's obviously gonna cost a lot of money. But
So are painting the lines.
the painting lines, that's actually what I suggested right off the hop, right? Cause it's inexpensive, right? But changing just, if you are doing any curbs or anything like that afterwards.
So for Aberfoyle, we're not,
Okay,
yeah. I think if we could get in writing, your opinion on the gateway markings, so I get what they are, but I don't have a visual in my mind. Are they, like a big 50K sign, or are they, kids playing, I don't know, whatever this gateway marking is, but if you can look at the area holistically and say gateway markings, spread out crosswalk, the lane configuration, and, have a review of it and let us know what your thoughts are, and then I can utilize that when
I'll send you the presentation that I did for roads, and then you can actually see what I proposed, actually, and then that way, like, that whole presentation was pretty much what we're talking about right now.
Great, I'm good. Do you need to read it?
Okay.
And we to move her to seconder? Any last comments? Thanks. Okay, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Let's take a brief recess here.
All right. A brief recess. The next item is the consent agenda. You have a resolution, except for item 20. It was 20, wasn't it? Yeah, 6.20.
And to you, Mr. Chair, I also think we had 6.14 being pulled out as well, so I included both.
Okay, you're pulling out 6.15. I don't think I've asked people yet. So,
That consent agenda items listed for the August 27th, 2025 council meeting, with the exception of items 6.14 and 6.20, we received for information.
can you move her, please? Mr. Spillis, Councilor Hurst, all in favor. Sorry, I assume nobody else had any other items to pull out, because she had 6.14.
That's it.
Okay, 6.14.
Yes, 6.14 deals with, a report prepared by a former, Wellington County Councilor, Bob Black. He's a senator now, in the Senate or the federal government. And, I had the pleasure of, participating in a sort of a call-in with them, through the Gravel Watch, and this was a topic on that specific call-in. And, soil, as we know, is essential to our food basics, so I think we should be supporting this motion. Wellington North County already put their support behind this, and I basically mirrored their resolution and willing to read it out. And it says, whereas the township of Plissens has received a North Wellington's letter of July 21st, 2025 to the Standing Senate Committee of Agriculture and Forestry, wherein North Wellington's Council communicated their full support for our 2024 report titled Critical Groundwater Soil is Essential to Canada's Economic, Environmental, Human, and Social Health. Be it resolved that the Township of Plissens also fully supports all the recommendations included in the report, and that a copy of this resolution be sent to the Standing Committee, Senator Rob Black, MP Michael Sean, all municipalities within the county, and Wellington Federation of Agriculture, Ontario Federation of Agriculture.
Moved by Councilor Willis, second by Councilor Hurst. Comments?
Very well done.
Councilor Hurst?
It's a good report. It's been out there for a while. My day job, we provided a lot of feedback. Yeah, the elements of it.
Okay, all in favor? That's carried. And the balance of the council for 6.20.
Yes, it's just to receive for information.
You move it, Councilor Goyda, Councilor Hurst. Any questions or comments? All in favor? That's carried.
Just one, sorry.
Sure.
On that one, the notice, it was just confusing because on the notice, it had a spelling mistake of side road 30 north in the write-up, but it's actually side road 20 north, just, again, super technical piece, but maybe just to flag that it's correct with the county as well.
Good. All right. Public meeting, September 17th at 7 p.m. Public information meeting held in person at the municipal office, 7404 Wellington Road 34. And by electronic participation through Zoom regarding proposed user fees and charges by law. Next, we're on to 9.4, corporate services. Let me just pull that up. And I believe that's Justine.
Through you, Mr. Chair, the purpose of this report is to report back to council on a number of items. The items contained in this report is reporting back to council regarding the request to the MTO with respect to the potential preserve concession 1, as well as a follow-up from the June 18th, 2025 council meeting with respect to the presentation provided by the county on their HEAT program, and then also provide council with the aggregate monitoring reports for council's consideration for the 2024 Mill Creek aggregate water monitoring report.
All right. We want to read the resolution, just get it on the floor and
Yes, so through you, Mr. Chair, the staff recommendation is that council direct staff to provide the peer review of the 2024 groundwater monitoring report and ecology report for Mill Creek Pit to the pit operator for response, and the MNR for their information.
please. Suppose, Councilor, all right. Mr. Collins, Councilor Goyda.
I just had a question or comment, I guess, about the MTO item on here. It's disappointing to learn that the MTO doesn't quantify the need for lights at that intersection. Doesn't really seem to reflect the actual local reality of what's taking place at that intersection on a daily basis, but I guess nonetheless, it's good to hear that at least you were heard when you were having at AMO. I'm not sure if it is appropriate at this time, or maybe you want to talk about it later, but maybe you could just talk about what happened or like how that delegation went at AMO and whether you think, part of this follow-up meeting can take place and you expect result from that meeting or.
Yeah, Courtney and I had a quick offline conversation about reporting back on AMO as a whole. She wants to prepare a report. There was a lot of good conversations that came out of it. I have no problem. A little bit of a high level right now. But like we just defer to Courtney, she'll speak eloquently to it, so.
And so through Mr. Chair, the MTO delegation was really well received. We were with one of the politicians, I think it was the parliamentary assistant. So that was just sort of elevating it to that level for discussion, which was great. We had our MPP also in attendance, and he's been an advocate, of course, for this since he's been in office. So we do have a meeting that we're trying to schedule in September for a follow-up with MTO staff. They explained in our delegation that they have organized this project into phases, and they want to review what those phases look like with the township so that we understand what each sort of the timeline over the next little while looks like. Part of our discussion was that we were going to also work on a communication plan. So that may come from the MP's office as well as the MTO, and then we can share it as well, just so that the community understands what this phased approach is and what's going to be taking place. They do continue to remain committed to the project and advocating for it through their budgeting and getting it started. So this next meeting that we're gonna have, I think we'll outline what that phased approach looks like, and we'll have information to bring back to council. We did stress the need for some interim measures while we wait. So here's really stress that this traffic light is an interim measure that we think is needed for safety. So we're going to continue to advocate for that, as well as some of the beautification projects in Morriston and the crosswalks and things that will help slow the traffic. So they are aware that we're working on that RFP for a consultant to come in and tell us what could be possible down in Morriston. And some of those interim measures, and they are willing to look at that with us when it's done. So I do think the meeting in September is going to help them give us some.
Okay, well, that's positive. That's positive. And maybe if nothing else, making that request for the traffic light sheds a different sort of angle, the importance to the bypass that maybe they hadn't considered before, so. Okay, that's good, look forward to that coming back.
When I highlighted the interim improvements, I felt there, not struck a nerve, but got a positive reception from that.
Yeah.
They kind of perked up and paid attention, and I felt there was some support for that at a high level. And thus the subsequent meeting, will focus in on that. I will mention, and maybe council has seen it online, Minister of Finance, Minister Bethapali, was in Morriston just ahead of the AMO conference at the local restaurant. And that was Joseph Rosinsky, our MPP, had organized that. MPP Rosinsky has been very active in advocating for this bypass. We've had several conversations just in passing, and evident of that is the minister coming to Morriston just for a private meeting. I think that's great. Whatever MPP Rosinsky can do to get this done is wonderful. So he is very much so advocating on our behalf. So I look forward to those meetings. I would suggest, the data is unfortunate. I think we are in agreement that the north-south traffic is problematic, even if the east-west doesn't meet the criteria. I don't know how much cost. I guess we could request the data to see what it was at, and also we have it. I'm sure we have it for either the vet clinic, Vader.
And we do have it for the vet clinic.
their criteria or the,
Actual intersection.
right? So, but it, I'm sure it stated how much cross traffic needs to be to trigger a light. So I would assume that that would be the same for, so let's try to dig up the data from when the vet clinic was, they're applying for a driveway or what you don't know.
Well, no, it was part of, as part of the, application, went to, PDAC and we asked that they prepare a traffic study.
Okay,
Okay, and they came to council with their consultant to, present the traffic study and they had all the data in that presentation.
but did it have the data from MTO criteria?
Yeah, the traffic consultant had all that information.
So at least we'll know the benchmark and how close the east-west traffic is, but again, I feel that our advocacy is that the north-south traffic is just bumper to bumper and can't access the road is very difficult, so. Let's go on that, so. I think that's all I have. Awesome tree.
To follow up on that, I'd like to suggest that, staff at this meeting ask for that information, of the MTO. What is the criteria? What do we have here? And what will it take to get it done type of thing? Certainly there's exceptions to the rule and this is got to be one exception to the rule. People aren't going east-west because they can't get across. I avoid that like the plague. If I have to go east-west, I don't bother going down there. Try to look for some other intersection.
Yeah, we should ask for it, and who knows, there could be different criteria for, or maybe they call it rural access, cause the criteria where vet clinic was, maybe it's considered in the hamlet, it's different, who knows, there could be different criteria for each scenario, so we definitely need to ask for that data and can build it from there.
So, Mr. Mayor, I have comments on the next item. If we in that report, you want to go around the first item or you want to?
Yeah, it's
The traffic, I'm fine, it's good conversations.
sure, go ahead. Mr.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the aggregate water monitoring report, there's two issues. The first is the Beaver Dam, and I understand Mr. Mary did speak to GRCA and about removing it, and you didn't get any traction on that. I was wondering if we can perhaps pass it on to Clemson Elk Creek to effect. But the question I asked also staff is the red population in the creek is been diminishing over the last 10 years. And the recommendation from their consultant is that there be an extensive study done to see what can be done to improve the habitat, including removal of the beaver dam, looking at if there's any bank treatment that could be done to increase the productivity of this. And our consultant Stan Daniel also picked up on this as well. So the staff was suggesting that we ask the operator to provide information whether or not they're going to address this issue of improving the creek. And if not, then we should try to escalate it.
So I'll tell you, I've had a few conversations with the operator. They want the beaver dam removed as well. Challenges, I haven't seen the dam. I don't know its actual location, but there's the operator and there's private property. And my understanding is the private property owner will not allow access to remove the beaver or the dam. The operator is willing to allow that to happen, but there's challenges. So then I made some calls, so I'll back up. Yes, I reached out to GRC, that was last year. And MNR and both said they're not going to get involved with both civil language. It's property, it's on private property. So I called just this morning before council, called the local guys. Do you know anybody that has the licenses to trap beavers? He said there's one individual, and I'm familiar with the individual in their company. And then I called my contact at the operator and said, would you be willing to provide access for myself and this individual to go look at the scenario and see if there's any solutions that can be done? And the first response was, well, you have to be licensed in Ontario. So yes, we would make sure that all the appropriate licenses and permits are in place. And they're willing to allow us access to their property to look at it, so I would suggest you just at least explore that option, and if this individual is willing to address the concern, find out some costing, maybe the operator be willing to pay. We don't know that, so I think that's a positive step forward, so let's go do a site visit, take a look at it, and see if this trapper is willing to, you know, take on the job, because I feel that's the only, we're not gonna get M&R, we're not gonna get tier safe. However, he did mention the contact with the operator, that Brenton Mill Creek were historically the ones that removed the dam. He also said that they usually end their operations about this time of year. That wasn't certain if they would be doing it for this year, but it's also a possibility for next year. Water flows, are they generally lower in the fall? I think they are. So if they may have to access this thing up the creek. So going in the spring high flows, that's out. Maybe this is the best time of year to get there if we can't access it from the private property. I would suggest if we can just get direction to explore all alternative options or a site visit with a local, what we call it, tracker or whatever, and report back, chief, beaver control agent, and I can report back. Sure. Their expertise and what if it's something they could do. Work that in, who knows their best at having the region.
The second part of my review of these reports was the looking to improve the red population, because the beaver dam is one issue, but then there's we may have siltation in some parts, it may be overgrowth in other part. Somebody needs to do a comprehensive review of the creek to see if it can be restored, and suggestion from staff is that we asked the operator if they will do that.
Sure.
And now then we did it, we take care of it, do other means.
Sure. So I think it's a great first step.
That's all I have.
So do you have did you prepare a resolution or something?
So the council directs staff to provide the peer review of the 2024 groundwater monitoring report and ecology report from Mill Creek to the pit operator for response and the M&R for their information. And that council endorses the mayor reaching out to the pit operator regarding the beaver dam that was in the report and connecting the pit operator with a licensed trapper to inquire about remedies. And the council directs staff to request a comprehensive review of the red population by the pit operator as noted in the report. And the council directs staff to request the traffic count data and the criteria to warrant a traffic light from the MTO for review, and that staff report back to council after the September meeting between the MTO and township staff.
That'll work. Great, move to Councilor Scholes, seconded by Councilor Gooding.
Yeah.
Right. I'll go back to Councilor Gooding, goes first. Sorry, my order. I didn't know if you want to talk about his stuff first.
That makes sense. I think, maybe not so, just sort of circling back to the beaver dam. I don't think that's something, like you mentioned, would be in Friends of Mill Creek sort of ability to do. But, cleaning up the banks, like falling down trees and things like that, that is exactly what the ranger program does. And that friend does have a representation on Friends of Mill Creek as well, so depending where that bed cleaning up needs to happen, whether it's on property or upstream, I'm not sure. But I mean, I'm happy to flag that at the Friends of Mill Creek meeting so that it's something that they can maybe consider as part of their work plan for next year.
I think the first step is getting the beaver dam, because obviously it's flooded, so maybe if the beaver dam is removed, then the water recedes, and then they can do these improvements, to help the reds kind of thing, so. Those are yours.
Bang on what I was gonna suggest. My only 2 cents is like the water levels are pretty low just due to like drought conditions this year. So it's a lot easier to work in a fall window when the water volumes and cadence of it are a lot less, it's less safer. But we might only have comment, but yeah, my head went exactly to the ranger program, and And, as part of that, funding commitment that this township makes to help support that, that could also be like, hey, here's a priority for the township to incorporate it into the work plan. Yeah, no, great comments, Councilor Woodin.
So if you, Mr. Chair, I've just added that council endorses Councilor Gorda sharing the cleanup of the banks in the report with the Mill Creek Rangers to inquire if this cleanup can be incorporated in the work plan.
Maybe just say Friends of Mill Creek.
Yes, it's in Mill Creek, sorry. Oh yes, Mill Creek Rangers. Sorry.
Bit of over second. More clarification. All in favor? That's carried. All right, next one is 9.412. Jim, you may give me a quick second. Good.
So to you, Mr. Chair, this is a report presenting the shooting range complaint resolution protocol. So as council recalls, as part of our draft bylaw for shooting ranges in the township, it was recommended that a resolution protocol also be established, just given the bylaw enforcement resources that we have in the township. So the draft of this protocol is included with the report. The shooting club has reviewed the protocol, made suggestions, and those have been incorporated as appropriate. As well, the public was notified of this protocol, and should we receive any feedback, we'll ensure to bring that forward with the next draft.
Do you have a recommendation?
So it's to receive the report and that council endorse the protocol either as amended or presented with the third and final reading of the shooting range bylaw at a future meeting.
Please, suppose, Councilor Graham, questions or comments? Councilor Graham?
No real questions that this looks, it looks reasonable to have sort of like the first process to be an informal complaint process to try and have parties resolve things between the two of them before involving the township. So I think that's a good approach. And, I was wondering, is the shooting range able to meet those requirements of response? But it sounds like they've already been involved in this process. So it looks good to me.
All right, go Councilor Lawrence comments.
Seriously.
I think those were the main ones, I guess I'm looking at the complaints really would be around noise and hours of operation, would be my understanding of it. The comments are that the range have the administrative capacity to take on this burden. Good. I think that was my main concern with the process is like, this is asking them to do things. Are they comfortable with that? Are they supportive of doing it? Yeah, and I guess in the report, I didn't, their comments are all rolled up in that. So it's hard to say a track change version of here's what it was and here's their comments incorporated, but I'll leave that to staff to kind of sanitize that. I think my main piece was, is it workable? Let's try it, and if it's modified in the future, then change it as needed. Yeah.
All right, all in favor? It's carried. Great, we're just. Great, 10.1. You want to speak to this?
If you'd like.
I'll go first.
Thank you.
This dropped, is there a date on this when it came out? On state, so it was just ahead of the annual conference. There's a whole plethora of M&R policies being rescinded, a few modified, I would say 50%, a little more, or what I would at a high level think are internal policies dealing with their own staff, which really isn't in their wheelhouse. There's probably 6 or 8 that raised some concerns around some around rental fences, stuff around, hydro G, planning concerns. So at the TAML meeting, we brought this to the executive and we had endorsement at AMO, endorsement to have our environmental review the absolute water table policy component, planner review it. And I had a conversation with the executive director of TAML this morning. And said, what about the provincial offenses component? He indicated he has a call with senior M&R staff to get the full implications of changes for the provincial offenses. He will be reporting back to Courtney and I. If there's concerns, we'll then, my understanding is we will then get a lawyer to look at them and raise this, form an opinion on it. Then we will bring it for post lunch, but TAML will push it out to all its members. There was a 45-day window comment period for this stuff. And the idea is also to show value to the members of TAML that utilize some of the membership fees to get this opinion, that they can then review it and formulate their own opinions and submit them within that 45-day window. That's the nuts and the bolts of it. Is there anything I missed? So, do you have any questions for me on that one?
I'm glad because I tried reading through some of the stuff. I couldn't understand when they were deleting some stuff. And I think it's sort of, what is it your intent thing? Why are they deleting?
Oh. This is where I may get this slightly wrong. When speaking with, who was the deputy minister, he indicated, or it was either. Was the title of the person that penned this in there? I don't want to do it. Doesn't matter. Senior staff. It sounds as more has come, more reviews and more policy changes and deletion. That's the indication I got from the AMO delegation. I don't know if you recall that they talked about direction from the premier's office to, get rid of duplication, red tape. So it sounds as though they're working a lot more. So we did ask, I stated this, that TAML's been working very hard to raise their profile within the government. And that we consider ourselves an equal with industry association. We're disappointed that we weren't given a consultation or a heads up that these changes were coming. We articulated that to them. I don't know if we got a firm commitment that they would communicate with us, but they had with our concerns. And that's when the conversation evolved into, well, there's going to be more review, and I believe there's going to be more communication with the executive director going forward. So we're looking forward to that, because it'd be disappointing if they're consulting with the association for these changes, and then we find out when it goes public for the 30-day window, and that was the basis of my comment. Right? Okay. Councilors?
No comments, sounds good. Guess it'll come to the next council meeting.
Do you have an email, letter, or summary you want to put together?
Yes, through Mr. Chair, that will, I don't know on the timing of the TAPMOS review. We'll have to wait and see through with the executive director.
That part, it needs to come quickly, because this was August 8th. We had, I believe, 45 days for all municipalities to comment. So during,
Yeah, September 25th.
so I've been asking the director to have these, so he has a Hydro G1 done. I believe he's meeting with the planner today. So the only outstanding one should be if we're gonna need a lawyer to review it, and then, so essentially I wanted it all done in 2 weeks. Cause that'll give almost a 30-day window to hit most cycles of members' councils. So. And then you were gonna bring a report.
Highlighting the outcomes sort of just of each of our delegations that we were successful in.
At the September meeting.
So it sounds like they will both come to the September 17th.
Right. Good. I have a second to receive that. Supposed to go ahead, all in favor? All right, into conservation. It's just for information.
Information.
Just, I had one observation. They're run like a really big surplus. It would appear to me, maybe that's more of Council Bailey's on their board, maybe that's a question for.
Susan Fielding is on.
Oh, is it? Sorry.
Into conservation. But. Okay. Good catch.
I'll leave it, but I'll not. Just, it looked really big when I was going through the financials. Like, what's up with that?
in reality, we pay a very, very small percentage of Hamilton. They are almost single sourced through their own levy, so even if, yeah. 17K or something, it's pretty small.
It was probably not consequential for our municipality, but as somebody that was just reading it, as a director, I would maybe question or asking a question or.
All right, can we second to receive that for information, please? Councilor Hurst, all in favor? Council reports. Yes, all we have is annual report will be coming September 17th. Fall fair is September, that's probably the fall fair is what, September 5th, 7th, 5th, 6th, 5th, 6th. 6th, 7th.
Oh, God.
Nailed it. You know, you know, you don't know, you don't know. There's some kid thing going around and it's undecisive, 6th, 7th. So that's coming up, that's good. I know the county is providing a load of sand, for the children to play, you know, like, I don't know. I believe some people have some toys and stuff, so they'll be dumping a load of sand. They're coordinating with Mr. Fowler on where to put it when it's coming. That'll be good. So tractor pulls, anti-tractor pulls are Friday night, and then all day Saturday are events. So that's always a good one for the community. I've been in correspondence with local M&R staff, Crystal Frost and Ian Thornton. We're scheduling a meeting early September to go over just general concerns around compliance, importation of raw material to sites, possibly some torque. Torque is being applied. We haven't nailed down the date, but Emo was coming up and we're away on vacation this summer, so I'm expecting that to happen in early September. Or anything else that I think that's all I have. So any questions around that? Okay, we're a second to receive that one from me. Councilor Spillis, Councilor Hurst. Oh, I did mention earlier that my notice of motion for the line painting now full is going to be at the September council meeting. So stay tuned. That's it. Okay. And we were seconder. All in favor? Carried. Any council reports from members here?
So one for me, one of our members on PDAC has resigned. She's moving out of the township. This is Amanda Knight, who's a clerk for Goldburn.
Okay. And I did see those. Seen those. Okay, so we'll be filling that position. Any other two members? So do we need to receive that? We were
We
second.
can include it with our
Sure.
receipt both at the same time, if that's okay. We still have the same thing first.
Yeah, that works. Okay, all in favor? Good. All right. Should finish typing. Bylaws?
That the following bylaw be taken as read 3 times and finally passed in open council, bylaw 2025-069, being a bylaw to appoint a municipal law enforcement and property standards officer.
You move for that, please. Spillis, Councilor Hurst, all in favor? That's carried.
Just a question on that. Give it timeline you're working towards, Courtney.
For onboarding this individual, I believe she started September 2nd. Yes.
Councilor Hurst, it's twice you've done that to me, Jordan, after we vote, you ask the question. You see
You're
that?
rocking through them too quick on.
All right, I'll pump brakes.
Sorry.
Gonna get me in trouble.
Mayor,
You too?
I know, just a separate issue.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, can we bring the new business up forward in advance of the closed session? I just want to ask about one particular item.
I'm fine with that.
I know that's our fire chief is involved with this.
We need to, make a motion to move it. We're good. The CEO saying we're good.
Okay, so this is to do with the railroad siding at Corwin. I was advised by a resident that this is happening, and when I heard about it, it was news to me. And I did speak to Courtney, and wanted Courtney to sort of give us a snapshot of what's happening there.
Certainly. So this is, a a siding at the GGR's railroad crossing in Corwin, so it's just south of 34. So this is a siding that is what they're working on is a replacement. So there used to be a siding there for storage, I understand, several years ago. And so they're looking to replace that for the storage of approximately 35 cars. So the GGR notified the township that this was taking place. They also included it in their AGM agenda, which I believe occurred in July, and some of our residents attended. So typically with a siding for a railroad within their right of way, there's no notice requirement for that. If it doesn't impact township roads, if there's no change of use, it's federally regulated, and so these agencies can do this work. They don't need to notify anyone. Of course, with GJR in the township, we have been working on sort of our community outreach and engagement, just because of the number of properties that do abut the railroad, and some of the ongoing concerns in Harkle. So GJR has committed to some notification outside of what they're actually required to do within their right of way. So the Corwin crossing, the township understood that they were notifying residents, and that had taken place, to let them know that this was a project that was upcoming. And unfortunately, the notice isn't typical of what we would consider notice to be. So we learned later that this was a verbal notice that had taken place, rather than a written one, and that obviously results in not everybody having access to that information. So there has been some concerns raised from the residents about this. So what the township has asked GJR to do is to do a proper written notification. They are doing that as a courtesy. They don't have to, but they will be doing that within the next couple of weeks to make sure all those residents understand what's taking place. And then the GJR is committed to addressing concerns that are raised from the residents as appropriate.
Do we know when it's gonna be?
I'm still waiting on those details, so I don't know the exact location of the siding yet, the length of it, or if it will be several wide. The use has been very clear. It is for storage, so it is not for loading or unloading of materials, which is what caused concern in Harkle. That is not what's taking place. It's for storage of rail cars. So once we get those details, I can share with council. The GJR has also committed to ensuring that council is updated on the AGM every year. So we're working on how that information can be shared annually with council. It is on their website, so it is available to the public, which is how our residents knew about it. But we're just working on what's most appropriate to inform our council of that, and then is it something appropriate for the township to push out on its own? So we're just working through what that looks like.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I have been speaking to residents about the same concern, not being aware of it. And I mean, I understand that they are not required to give notice, but I just think as sort of it's a neighborly thing to be doing. I'm glad to hear that they're doing that now, but moving forward, it would be, I think, helpful to have that communication in advance to township if they're going to do that.
Sirs.
No questions. I'm curious to see what the information is when it becomes public. It's mapping, it's risk assessments, that type of stuff.
I would request that you request from GJR to identify any other historic sightings that are within the township. I don't recall a storage there, maybe vaguely seen one, so I just don't want to get in a situation where, oh, we had one years ago. Well, was there one or wasn't there one? And there's 6 more in the township, and we're gonna see 6 more of these come up. So I would really like to know how many are in the township, how many are in use, how many were there, been removed, because then we'll have a fulsome understanding of where the potential of these expansions will be. And then, you know, not that it matters, but be interesting to see any photos or we've proved, they don't need to prove it, but I just don't recall a siding being there. So to say we're just replacing one that was there, that's why it needs to be down the path of, let's identify the remainder of the ones that are there. I think it's more important. That way, we'll know, anyways, the use is important. And, will they be constructing driveway access? Because the one in Arkell has a pretty big shared driveway, so. If there's an access for construction, will it be removed after? And if there isn't an access, I believe they'll need a driveway permit from the county, maybe not, I don't know. Just don't want it, I don't want a driveway there that then leads to zoning issues. Other than for construction. So,
It would be important to know when they plan to lower and offload the source of the cars or switches, type of, you don't want that happening. In the middle of the night.
yeah, you can't
I know you can't, but at the same time, it's,
be transparent. So.
Okay, captured that.
Under new business. May you move a second to receive that,
So we can,
yeah, just
sure.
move a second to receive that new business information for direction. Supposed to consider, okay, go ahead, all in favor, it's carried. Please give, I don't know where, nothing is done. All right, where were we, Councilor Lewis?
Olson.
Wilson. About flipping pages. All right. Take some close, that's my thoughts.
All right. The council should go into closed session under section 239 of the Municipal Act for the purpose of a confidential report regarding a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board. And this is related to a land acquisition disposition. And a confidential report regarding personal matters of an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, and this is related to human resource matter.
All right, good. Sirs, Councilor Schools, all in favor, carried.
Yeah. Yeah, we can chat later.
Maybe actually black out that 6.
Recommendations coming out of close, Ms. Whitefox.
The council moves into open session at 12:28.
And mover, please, Councilor Hurst, Councilor Schools, all in favor, carried.
The council received the confidential report regarding a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board. Confidential report regarding personal matters of an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, and related to human resource matter, and that proceeded as directed.
Please, Councilor Schools, Councilor Goyda.
Yeah.
Favor? Any business arising from the closed session? None? No motion? Oh. Confirmatory bylaw.
The following bylaw you read 3 times and finally passed in open council. Bylaw 2025-070 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council for the corporation in the township of Clifton should its meeting held on the 27th day of August 2025.
Mover, please, Councilor Schools, all in favor? And adjourned.
Council hereby adjourns at 12:29 p.m.
Councilor Goyda, Councilor Schools, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Rest of your day.